My name is Bakari Sellers. Come on, you picked just pictures. Okay. My name is Bakari Sellers. I'm here with Mr. Flores, our client, and of course Jessica Fickling from the Strong Law Firm. We have in the back Mr. Lewis, who's a new law clerk here with us today as well. Welcome, brother. Glad you're here. And so we're here today because of a concerning incident that happened in the Richland County area just recently. As we all know, an individual from Fort Jackson stormed onto a school bus here in Richland County and took the bus hostage. He hijacked that bus. We're here to ask questions. We're here to ask for transparency. We're here to ask for accountability. We represent currently two children who were on the bus that day. And while for many of us, this is just a one-day news story or two-day news story, for these children, this is a traumatic event that will last a lifetime. And we understand that uniquely enough before you, you have three parents who stand here as well. And I don't know how many people watching or how many people in the media or how many people at home can honestly say they know what it feels like to be in Mr. Flores' shoes today. Having to get that call that there was an emergency involving your children, only to find out that literally their school bus was hijacked. This is a very dangerous world, we know that. But as parents, we try to protect our children, and we expect the school to protect our children. And even more importantly, we expect the United States military to protect us domestically as well. We believe that there were failures along the way. We're investigating what those failures were. And we're going to seek transparency, accountability, and justice for all of the children who were involved in this matter. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Flores briefly. He's going to talk about the emotional toll on his family and his children. He'll talk briefly about the moment. I don't expect him to speak long. Then I'll have the brains of this operation, probably the most brilliant lawyer I know. Hey, Mario, I know my fellow law partner's watching, but Jessica is by far the most brilliant lawyer I know. She will talk briefly, and then we'll answer any questions that you all may have. Mr. Flores, you can give me your full name too.
I'm Josh Flores. Last week, a bus was hijacked with both of my daughters in there. A few hours later, we got a call from the school saying that your daughters are fine. You need to come to the school. Me and my wife went to the school, and we heard their side of the story. We asked the girls what happened. The girl says after I dropped them off at the bus stop, at the very next bus stop, that there was a guy in a military outfit. They referred to him as a soldier. And she said this soldier got on the bus, held a gun to the driver, and said, drive to the next town over. And from there, the kids were all nervous. All of them was getting hysterical from what she says. They went to ask some various questions. Why are you so sweaty? Are you going to hurt us? Are you going to do this? And then from there, from my understanding, in an anger field, he made everybody get off the bus, and it was just a very uncomfortable and unfortunate situation. And you got to ask yourself, how does a soldier from Fort Jackson get off the military base with the gun? How does that happen? And then at that, he goes after some of our most vulnerable, the kids, the children. After 17 children, you have to ask yourself, what was going on with Fort Jackson? How did this happen? And just so many more questions that I just have unresolved. At this point, my daughters are doing better. They have not returned to school because they're having nightmares. They're scared to go to school. They're also scared of soldiers. Every time they see a soldier, they say, Dad, do you think he's going to hurt us? Dad, do you think this? And here lately, a lot of police have been criticized lately, but they was the real heroes in this in this whole deal. They helped save my daughter's life. They helped rescue the kids on time. And I want to thank all law enforcement and everybody that had anything to do with getting our kids back safe. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Man, you should go to law school. Come on, Jess.
Good morning, everybody, and thank y'all for being here. There's not much left to say other than we are looking for accountability here. I think that Mr. Flores asked the exact right question, which is how does something like this happen? It is our intention to get to the bottom of that. It's our intention to determine how this happened, and it is our intention to ensure that it doesn't happen again and that we get answers to our questions. It's a continuing development. Obviously, these girls and all of the children are going to be impacted by this significantly and for a long time. And so we look forward to working with the individuals involved in this to come to some solution to ensure this doesn't happen again.
And you guys have been in this room many times over. Josh today was more prepared than I. Because usually in this room we're talking about different civil rights cases this firm brings against law enforcement around the country. But I have to say, and Josh, thank you for reminding me, that Sheriff Leon Lott and his team are the true heroes in this. We do have questions of the school district. We do have questions of Fort Jackson. Serious questions, but we must say thank you when that thanks is due. With all that being said, any questions that you all may have?
Has there been any litigation?
Tell us your name and where you're from.
Sorry, Adam Benson, Postman Carter. Has there been any litigation filed yet, or subpoenas issued to try to, or is that something in the works? Or?
Something is in the works. We'll make sure that everybody's aware when that time comes. Right now, we're in the process of ensuring, and I know the school district has reached out, but ensuring that these girls get, working with the family, making sure they get the proper therapy, etc., treatment. But he being supportive of the family is our number one goal right now, and taking on any other families who want that same type of transportation, transparency, and accountability as well.
Mr. Forrest, could you just spell your name, please?
Flores.
And how old are your daughters, if you don't mind me asking?
One's 11 and the other one's 6.
And they were both on the bus?
They both was on the bus. The older one, 11, and I didn't mention this earlier, she has autism. She's been diagnosed with autism, so it's more difficult to translate to her what's going on. And when I was saying about the soldiers and how she thinks of it as a bad guy, it's my oldest daughter with autism. She doesn't get I'm trying to explain it to her, but she'll get it over time. But it just right now, like I said, she's just in a dark place.
Oh, Mr. Sellers, Alex Johnson with Watch Fox 57. Have you spoken with anyone from Fort Jackson about this?
We have not, and one of the things that we do anticipate doing is making that contact. I think that in the time that we've had since then, usually it's not on the victim per se to reach out to the individuals who caused the harm. We haven't heard much from Fort Jackson, either privately or publicly, in regards to how this happened, and two, probably the most important question that Jessica has highlighted, how they will prevent this from happening again. What happened is a miscarriage of justice, to say the least. But just imagine for a moment, take off your journalistic hats, I'll take off my lawyer hat because my baby's on my life, and you get a phone call saying that your children's bus has been hijacked. You do everything to keep them safe. You take them to the bus stop, you protect them, you get them on, and within moments, they could have died. I think that we don't understand that. Everything that's going on in the world today, they could have died. It could have been a tussle between the bus driver and the gentleman, or the guy could have dropped his gun, or he could have actually turned around and shot them all. And instead of sitting here before you today having just a case about a hijacking, you could have had a Sandy Hook 2.0 right here in Richland County.
He could even wreck the bus or anything.
Yeah, Lauren Salem with the state newspaper. Mr. Flores, can you just walk me through what your reaction was when you first got that phone call and how it's changed today?
Well, clearly, when I first got the phone call, obviously it was the school, so I knew it wasn't a joke, but it was just shocking. What? You just wouldn't think that could happen here in Columbia. You wouldn't think that a Fort Jackson soldier could be behind this. It was just a lot. It was a lot more questions than answers. A lot more questions than answers.
Thank you. Sir, you said that your daughters are still not wanting to go back to school. How do you feel about sending them back to school as well? What are your thoughts?
Well, luckily, because of the COVID thing right now, they're doing the online school, so they're not going to school. They're just doing it online, probably for the rest of the year. And like you said, what happens next year when it's probably going to be mandatory for all the kids to go back to school? Because they're definitely, like I said, they're definitely terrified. They definitely feel like, well, what if this happens again? And we have great officers working at the schools, but what happens at the bus stops? It just kind of opened up Pandora box, because what do you really do? I mean, what do you really do? It just makes me feel like, law enforcement are stretched out, already doing great jobs at the schools, but now it's like another hole with the bus stops. Like, what do we do as parents? And it's just a confusing and difficult time.
Well, Mr. Flores, with this difficult time for you, how are you explaining to your daughters that all military soldiers are not, the way that guy reflected that day?
Right, and that's the thing. I have military family, and I've told her, I said, military there are heroes. They go out and do jobs that I would never think of doing. They're some of the bravest soldiers it is. This is just an individual case, but at the same time, even though, you might want to say he's mentally ill, this, and that, or whatever his case was, but how did Fort Jackson let this happen is my question. How do you let him get off the premises with a gun? I don't know what type of gun, but how do you let him get off campus with any gun? It's just one of them things that's just very unfortunate.
Mr. Flores, Jennifer Zena with WLTX. Have you spoken with Fort Jackson at all, and what were the conversations like if they have reached out to you?
I have not spoke with Fort Jackson, no. Seen their PR people try to spin some.
One second.
Yeah, Jason with WSPA up in Spartanburg.
Do you use your TV voice all the time?
No, when I ask questions,
Are you that guy around the house like this? Okay.
yeah, the TikTok. So, have you talked to other families? I mean, are they feeling the same way as far as their kids not wanting to go to school? What are those conversations like?
I've talked to one other parent, and that parent felt the same way. That it just feels very unsafe. There's a lot of things going on in this country, and for kids to be targeted like this, it just feels very unsafe. And
we just to follow up on that question, we are facilitating calls from other parents. We anticipate we know there were 17, I believe, children on that bus. We represent 2 of them. We anticipate that list to grow when we get to the point of litigation. And so a lot of times parents don't know where to go, or they're not getting the right answers, and we're just trying to provide that outlet as well.
I wanted to ask you what you would say to the bus driver who is being honored tomorrow by the district, and a resolution was just introduced in the Senate, I think this morning, recognizing his acts. Just wondering what you would say to him if he was here right now.
If we can chime in, we talked about that upstairs. We think that we definitely think law enforcement are heroes. We applaud the bus driver for all the efforts he took. We just question whether or not he had all the resources necessary to prevent it from happening. This is not an indictment by any stretch on the bus driver, because hell, if I had an AR pointed at my head and it's a soldier or whatever it may be with a knife, I don't know how I would react either. But the question is, how do they get put in these situations? And again, the district, we're going to investigate the district to see what protocols were and policies were and were not followed. But we know for a fact that policies and procedures were not followed at Fort Jackson by the end result in what occurred. The last question.
Jeff Dunn from WS. Is this litigation just against Fort Jackson, or is it against
we are building this plane as we fly, and so we will see. We cannot rule out any actions or bad actions by the school district. We do know that there is liability with the United States government at Fort Jackson. Jessica, am I summarizing that correctly? Jessica's the brilliant one here, I told you so.
He likes to say that just to get me ready for the podium.
Please.
We're flexible at this time. We are looking into all of the avenues available to us in terms of who might be responsible. And again, it isn't an indictment of the school bus driver. I think Bakari said it really well in that it's about resources. It's about what resources were available, what resources weren't available, and what thought process was put into place which would have allowed for a scenario like this to unfold.
Yeah, the last point we'll make is quite simple. These parents of these 17 children have a lifetime to deal with the incident that occurred in Richland County. And we want to make sure that they have the transparency, accountability, and answers that they deserve. We also want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We cannot take lightly what happened. The school district, the United States military cannot throw their hands up and be like, whoo, we dodged a bullet. That's just not the way this works. Instead, there are long-term consequences for a group of children who are our most vulnerable, who we have to protect as well. With that, thank you for joining us again at the Strong Law Firm. Thank you. God bless you all, and have a brilliant and beautiful day and weekend. Thank you.